The morning sun rose slowly above the jungle canopy, spreading golden light across the wide river. Mist curled over the water like smoke, and the cries of birds echoed from the tall trees. For most of the forest, this was a calm hour, but for the Stone Fang tribe, it was the time of work, the time of survival. Kyle, the leader of the tribe's hunters, waded knee-deep into the river. His dark hair was tied back, his strong arms carried a woven basket, and his eyes stayed sharp, scanning both water and forest. He was a man hardened by years of danger. On his chest were scars, reminders of battles against beasts and rivals alike. His tribe depended on him, his daughter, his mate, the elders who could no longer hunt. Every catch, every risk, every scar was for them. Behind Kale, 4 other hunters followed: Derek, Torin, Balar, and Kor. They were younger than Kyle, though still fierce. Each held a spear tipped with stone, and each carried the same hunger in their eyes. They laughed as they entered the river, splashing water at each other before focusing on the task. "Today we eat well," Torin said, grinning as he struck his spear into the water. A silver fish wriggled on the point, glistening in the sunlight. He tossed it into Kyle's basket, where it flopped until Kyle pressed it down with his hand. Kyle gave a short nod. "Catch more." The children grow thin. "We cannot return with only this." The men obeyed. They spread out slightly, stabbing their spears into the water. One by one, more fish were caught, filling the basket quickly. Their bodies moved with practiced rhythm, muscles honed by years of this same work. Yet their movements also carried a sense of urgency, for hunger always followed close behind. For a while, the river gave freely. Dozens of silver fish wriggled in Kyle's basket. He felt a rare satisfaction. Maybe tonight the fires would burn bright, and the children would laugh as they ate. Maybe for a few days the tribe would rest without worry. But Kyle knew the river well, and the river did not stay generous for long. The water around his legs rippled strangely, not from fish, not from wind, something heavier, something deeper. Kyle froze. The laughter of his men faded when they saw his face. "What is it?" Derek asked, his spear pausing mid-stroke. Kyle raised his hand slowly, signaling for silence. The forest sounds had changed. The monkeys were no longer screeching. The birds had flown, their cries fading into the distance. Even the insects seemed quiet. Only the slow, unnatural ripple of the river remained. Kyle's heart pounded. He knew this silence. He had heard it before, once long ago when he was younger, before he carried scars. That day, he had watched another tribe lose half their men in seconds. That day, he had sworn never to forget the warning signs. "Back," Kyle whispered, his voice sharp, urgent. "Back to the shore, now!" But the warning came too late. The water erupted. From the depths, a massive shadow surged upward. Scales glistened in the sunlight, green and black. A mouth opened, wide enough to swallow a man whole, lined with teeth longer than Kale's hand. The river exploded into foam as the monster rose, an ancient terror, older than the tribe itself. The Gorek. Every hunter froze in horror. Stories of the beast had filled their childhood nights. Tales told by elders around the fire, of men vanishing in the river, of blood turning the water red, of a creature too strong to kill. Few had believed the tales fully, until now. The Gorek roared, a deep, guttural sound that shook the air. Its tail whipped through the water, sending waves crashing against the hunters. Kyle felt his body tremble, but his mind screamed at him to move. "Run!" he shouted. The hunters splashed wildly through the river, muscles straining, hearts racing. Kyle clutched the basket of fish against his chest. It slowed him, but he would not drop it. Those fish meant life for his people. If he returned empty-handed, even if he survived, the tribe would starve. Behind them, The Gorok surged forward, its massive body cutting through the water like a living boulder. Its eyes glowed with hunger, fixed on the hunters. "Faster!" Kale cried, but the river fought them. The water dragged at their legs, mud clutched at their feet. Every step felt slower, heavier, as though the river itself wanted them to fall. Then it happened. Darek, the youngest, stumbled. His foot caught on a root hidden beneath the water. He fell, his cry sharp and desperate. Kyle turned, his eyes wide with horror, but the beast was already there. The Gorok lunged, jaws snapping. The water exploded in a spray of foam and blood. For a heartbeat, Kale saw Darek's face, eyes wide with terror, mouth open in a final scream. Then he was gone, swallowed whole. The river turned red. Kyle's chest burned with grief and rage, but he could not stop. To stop was to die. He forced his legs to move faster, his arms clutching the basket tighter. He had led these men into the river. One was already dead. He would not let the others fall, not if his strength could prevent it. The Gorok roared again, swinging its massive head side to side. Its tail smashed against the water, sending waves that nearly knocked the hunters off their feet. "Go!" Kale shouted, his voice breaking with fury. "Don't look back!" The hunters obeyed, terror driving them forward. Their feet slammed against the shallow riverbed, water splashing around them as they fought to reach the shore. Kyle's legs burned, his lungs screamed for air, but he kept running. Every step carried the weight of his tribe's survival. Every heartbeat reminded him of the brother he had lost to the beast. At last, the mud gave way to sand. Kyle's feet struck the riverbank, his body lurching forward onto solid ground. His men stumbled beside him, gasping, coughing, their eyes wide with shock. But the danger was not over. The Gorok did not stop. With a thunderous crash, it slammed its massive body onto the shore, mud spraying in all directions. Trees snapped beneath its weight, branches cracking like bones. The hunters cried out in terror. "It follows!" Torin shouted, his voice breaking. Kale's chest heaved, his arms ached, but his eyes burned with determination. He had thought the stories of the Gorok were just warnings for children. Now he knew they were truth, and the truth was worse than the stories. The beast would not stop at the river. It would not stop until it had fed. Kyle clutched the basket of fish tighter, his mind racing. The river had turned from friend to enemy. The hunt had turned into a nightmare. And as the monster's roar shook the jungle, Kyle realized something else. This was not just about survival anymore. This was war.